Hey, what's up? It's your boy Maze here with Luke, the expert on Social Circle and container events and everything in that ecosystem. And what we're gonna dive into today is how to 10x your efficiency with engaging with people, meeting people, and ultimately how to get really whatever you want better and more efficiently by bringing people together and connecting with people and creating win-win situations for everyone. Let's dive into it. If I could rewind time and go back to when I first got into social dynamics, 100% would have put more emphasis on container events, i.e. group dates. The reason being is because you burn so much time just going out and getting new leads, so to speak, that come into your life and then just letting them slip out of your life. You have no infrastructure on how to maintain and keep engaging the people that you're meeting constantly.
It's great. Infrastructure is the right way to do it, right? Because if you call the word infrastructure implies that there's a foundation, that there's scaffolding, that there's drywall, that there's different rooms, there's different categories. You have to look at your social life, your work life, and then potentially your entrepreneur life, and then for me also my family life, right? I look at these different categories as an infrastructure. I don't look at socializing at all as personal development, to be honest. Even I'm going to go out on a limb and even say that personal development is personal. That's what happens between your ears, right? And personal development is the reason why you have one mouth and two ears. The whole thing of everyone's heard this before. Why you have to listen twice as much as you speak, right? Personal development is what happens inward. It's an inner journey that you will never actually complete. You're just going to keep going and going and always be finding who you are and who you want to keep becoming. Whereas when it comes to your social life, whether that's finding somebody to date, whether that's finding a business partner, whether that's finding new ways to communicate with your family that maybe you haven't communicated with in a while, right? Whether that's communicating with your kids, whether that's communicating with your family, your parents, your cousins, whatever it is, right? That's all about creating new opportunities for yourself within the infrastructure you're creating. If you have asbestos in your infrastructure, if you have holes in the drywall and you have a terrible foundation, and let's say you build your social infrastructure on just a bed of sand, right? It just goes to crap, goes to nothing. Well, you can't really be surprised because that's the situation that's at hand. So as an example, if you haven't actually mapped out when you're going to go on dates and what your dates look like, you will always be nervous about dates. I have zero anxiety about meeting women, about meeting guys that I want to do business with, or women that I want to do business with, or people that I want to be a client of mine in my various businesses. I have no anxiety about it at all because I already have a placeholder there. I have placeholders for potential business partners for just random business ideas that I have that I'm not really ready to commit to yet. But if I do meet that business person who fits into one of those placeholders, right, that's a part of my infrastructure, well then maybe we run, full speed ahead with that specific business unit, right? But that's because I have that infrastructure in place already. If you're going through life randomly, haphazardly, falling forward, you're going to be failing forward. You're not actually going to be able to connect with people the way you want to connect. For example, if you want to have the biggest, baddest social media marketing agency, SMMA, right? You have to know who your clients are before you buy your domain name. Think about it, right? You have to know who your potential clients are in your SMA business, in your business where you're going to develop courses, in your landscaping business, or even your pool cleaning business. Whatever the business is you're doing, you have to know what is the infrastructure ahead of time. You can't build a house and then build a basement under the house once the house is built. At least, I don't think you can very well, right? You have to understand that. What is the infrastructure? Pre-plan, and then just as you go through life, the reason it looks like I'm kind of carefree with my life, even though I travel every 2 days now and I'm all over the place, is because I have these containers not just for not just for women I'm trying to date, not just for clients that I want to be a part of one of my programs or various businesses, not just for my people I want to be investors in let's say my hospitality group, whatever it is that I'm trying to do. I'm not really in a race to accomplish a certain thing because these are containers, they're buckets. If all of a sudden I meet that right person that's going to help me in my hospitality group, maybe everything else drops and I just run forward with that. but I don't want to put pressure on it because I don't want to force Maze himself to be somebody that he's not just because we're friends. I want to foster whatever he's trying to do. So let's say he's crushing the music game and he's doing his music thing, and you know, without even putting words in his mouth of what that even means necessarily, of how that's going to materialize, I would rather just create the safe space for that dialogue, and then how else can I put some gasoline on the fire to help foster that, and then let's see where the synergies are. Rather than trying to tell him, hey, I think you should do it like this, or hey, this is what I'm doing. Instead, create the infrastructure where people can come in and out of your life, and you're adding value accidentally, inadvertently. Let me ask you, what type of group events have you done that worked more successfully than if you were to just either interact with one person one-on-one, or you were going to then maybe perform for just one person? Where have you been able to kind of extrapolate and really push this idea of you with quite a few people at once in that kind of setting?
One thing I love doing is having my go-to places to eat. And
me too.
Like, this changes the game because, one, you know the people that work there. If you frequent the spot enough, as we just shot another video, that proximity effect, by just being there a lot, you create relationships with the people that work there.
I like to turn my container events into a pleasure bubble. This pleasure bubble concept is where every need is met and every want is had. Every need is met and every want is had. Now, the reason I like that is because it gives a lasting effect. For example, if you come to a restaurant with me in Vegas, you go to Zuma, you go to Milos, Zuma. Imagine Nobu if Nobu was 5 times as good. That's Zuma. Milos, the fish is flown in daily. I mean, Milos is literally one of the greatest places you could ever go to. Let's say you go to Beauty and Essex or STK. Going with me or one of my friends is an entirely different experience. They bring we go to Beauty and Essex, they bring a show out. They bring these girls with these like feather suit things with the hats and the whole thing. Bro, they literally just start bringing food out. They just start bringing drinks out. This whole concept of, I remember, back in the day, everyone's talking about how, should you buy a girl a drink? Well, that's the wrong conversation to be had. This whole idea of should you be a provider or a lover? Well, no. As far as I'm concerned, I want to be both. Of course, I want to provide for the people around me. I want to create a pleasure bubble where do you like sparkling water or do you like still water? Oh, I have both. It's whatever you want. That's the key here. At this restaurant or in my home or wherever I'm at, it is a container where your smells, your sights, your tastes, every sensory option that you have, I am going to trigger so that you are having the best time you could possibly be having, so that no matter what happens, you are going to be leaving this container event satisfied, thrilled, full of laughter, with new connections that you formed. Whether it's at let's say you go to Catch, for example, right? I go to Catch in New York a lot. When I go to Catch in New York, and the people that I go with, the people that I go with in New York, I'm thinking of one particular guy. When I walk into Catch with him, every guy comes up and high-fives him. Every girl comes up, gives him a hug. Every celebrity comes over and pays his dues and pays his respects. Leonardo DiCaprio goes up to my friend and says, hey, are you having a good night? Do you need anything? And my friend's just like, oh no, Leo, it's okay, it's cool. All right, cool. And then he goes off to his table with his little, Kangol hat or whatever it is, within his vape, and then goes back to, all of the model table that he's at. And then my friend goes over and, and him and I just sit at the bar and then we just talk. And meanwhile, everyone's paying their respects. Well, why? That's because in his container events, everyone else has their needs met and their wants had. When you realize this effect of, it's to kind of decide of, oh, where should we eat tonight? No, that's predetermined. That's that infrastructure concept we talked about. Right. If I am in Las Vegas on a Monday night, I am eating at STK with my friends, period. Magnum Mondays at STK, period. If I am in New York on a Sunday, I'm going to go to, well, I'm not going to say exactly I'm not going to tell you my exact itinerary and my schedule, but it's already predetermined. When I'm in London on a Wednesday afternoon or a Wednesday evening, I'm eating at Mr. Chow's. It's very specific and curated. Now, why? This might sound a little anal retentive. This might sound a little OCD, but it's just predetermined. You're going to have to make these decisions anyway, so why not make them ahead of time? Why not make friends with the sommelier? Make friends. Think about this. A sommelier spends 7 years or something like that in school learning about wine. All you have to do is show a little curiosity about it, and he will literally be your walking social proof person that is exuding value to you, just giving you value throughout every date you have, every date and business connection you have, will be thoroughly impressed when even the word sounds pretentious. When the sommelier comes over and says, "Hey, would you like to try our new 2014 from Del Dado Winery?" You're like, "Oh, you know what? I actually would. Do you have the bacon flavored Pinot? You know what? We're out of that. You know what? Let me just check." And he'll bring you this wine that tastes like bacon from Del Dado in Napa, and it doesn't even matter. Even that whole thing sounds kind of pretentious or arrogant. It's not that. It's just particular. The more particular that you are, and the more that you're arbitraging that value to the person next to you. Again, whether it's a date, whether it's a networking event, it could be employees, it could be people that you want to work for you, it could be investors, it could be any sort of way that you want. That's why it's called a container event, because it contains all of the people that you're meeting throughout your week, that you're meeting online through LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever way you're meeting people. You throw them in that container because you've already built that infrastructure.
That's amazing. It's beautiful, and it contains everything that they need as well. That's phenomenal. The most attractive person is going to be somebody that can accrue resources and distribute those resources at the drop of a hat. That is extremely attractive. You become a magnet when you're that person. You don't have to be the person that has those resources. You can just be the person that connects the people that do, and go into and find out what do these people want.
OPR, other people's resources.
Other people's resources. And what their primary drivers of emotions are. PD. And you can connect them. Yo, that was dope, man. Luke is the prime expert on everything social circle, container events, everything within that ecosystem. So if you want to hear more about that, head over to his channel. I'm going to leave a link to his channel in the description. Much love. Thank you, man. Thank you.